You lean in. Lips touch. For about 2 seconds, neither of you breathes. It feels like the single most natural, most human thing two people can do together. Instinctive, universal. Hardwired since the dawn of the species. Except it isn't, and that's the story. Here's the thing nobody tells you about kissing. It is not a human universal. Anthropologists have actually gone out and checked. A landmark 2015 survey looked at 168 cultures around the world and found that only about 46% of them, less than half, engage in romantic sexual mouth kissing at all. Not kiss differently, don't do it. Never developed it. Entire societies that built complex language, art, religion, agriculture, and never once thought to put their mouths together as a romantic gesture. So if kissing isn't hardwired into every human brain by default, where did it actually come from? And why do some of us do it and others never even invented the concept? Let's start with the written record because this is where the story gets genuinely weird. For decades, the oldest known reference to kissing was assumed to come from ancient India, from Vedic Sanskrit texts written around 1500 BC, describing people sniffing with their mouths, pressing faces together in a way scholars interpreted as an early proto-kiss. Neat, tidy story. Kissing invented in South Asia, then spread outward. Except in 2023, two researchers digging through Bronze Age Mesopotamian clay tablets found something that completely wrecked that timeline. Sumerian and Akkadian texts, dating back as far as 2500 BC, a full 1,000 years earlier, describe kissing casually, not as some exotic new custom being introduced, as something completely ordinary. A married couple kissing to resolve an argument, kissing in explicitly sexual contexts, kissing between family members. The language used treats it the way you describe someone shaking hands. Routine, already established, already old. And that detail matters enormously. Because when a behavior shows up in the written record already treated as unremarkable, it tells you the writing didn't invent the behavior. The behavior existed long before anyone thought it was interesting enough to write down, which means the real origin of kissing isn't Mesopotamia in 2500 BC. It's whatever came before that, and we simply don't have the paperwork for it. So let's go further back than writing. Let's go back to biology, because this is where things get genuinely strange. Kissing, or something that looks remarkably close to it, isn't uniquely human. Bonobos, one of our two closest living relatives, kiss. Mouth to mouth, sometimes with tongue involved, frequently after conflict as a reconciliation gesture, patching things up between individuals who've been fighting minutes earlier. Chimpanzees do it too, less often, but they do it. Bonobos and chimps split from the human lineage somewhere between 6 and 7 million years ago. If kissing-like mouth contact shows up independently in multiple branches of the primate family tree, one of two things is true. Either it evolved separately more than once, which is possible, or it's old, genuinely old, possibly present in a common ancestor we haven't even found fossils for yet. There's a theory for how it might have started, and it's simultaneously sweet and slightly unsettling. Kiss feeding. In many primate species, and in some human cultures still today, mothers pre-chew food, softening it, then pass it mouth to mouth directly into an infant's mouth. It's practical. Babies can't chew tough food, but think about what that action actually is. Direct, intimate mouth-to-mouth contact, associated from birth with safety, nourishment, and trust. Some anthropologists argue that romantic kissing may be an adult echo of that infant bonding behavior, borrowed, repurposed, and rewired for a completely different relationship, the way so much human affection seems to recycle behaviors that originally meant something else entirely. Then there's a theory that sounds almost too clinical for something this intimate. The immunological hypothesis. When you kiss someone, you're not just exchanging affection. You're exchanging an enormous amount of biological information. Saliva, scent, microbes, Some researchers have proposed that close facial and mouth contact allowed early humans to unconsciously assess a potential partner's immune profile, essentially sniffing out genetic compatibility before anyone understood what a gene was. There's even a darker layer to this. Pregnant women exposed early and repeatedly to a partner's saliva may build up tolerance to common viruses that partner carries, which could matter enormously for a developing pregnancy. Kissing under this theory isn't romance first. It's a biological handshake that romance got attached to later. And here's the part that rarely makes it into the sweet version of this story. Kissing is also one of the most efficient transmission routes for herpes simplex virus, a pathogen that infects a majority of adult humans worldwide, often without them ever knowing. Some researchers have gone as far as suggesting the virus and the behavior may have quietly shaped each other over enormous timescales, a strange coevolution between an intimate human ritual and the microscopic passenger that rides along with it. Even that 2500 BC Mesopotamian record contains what some historians believe is the earliest documented reference to sores consistent with herpes, sitting right there next to the earliest documented kiss. The two showed up in the historical record holding hands. So was kissing invented, spread from one culture to the rest of the world the way tobacco or coffee spread? Almost certainly not. The Mesopotamian evidence alone destroys that idea, because it shows up already ordinary 1,000 years before anyone previously thought it existed. It's far more likely that kissing, or the biological instinct underneath it, is ancient, primate deep, present in some form before Homo sapiens even existed as a species, and that different human cultures simply chose, independently, generation after generation, whether to keep it, ritualize it, ignore it, or replace it with something else entirely. A nose press, a forehead touch, a held gaze. So the next time you kiss someone and it feels like the most obvious natural gesture on earth, remember what it actually is. Not a universal human instinct, not something every culture arrived at. A strange, ancient, borrowed behavior, inherited maybe from infant feeding, maybe from primate reconciliation, maybe from unconscious biology, quietly checking whether this person's immune system pairs well with yours. 2 seconds, no breathing, and underneath it, millions of years of accident, instinct, and negotiation you never once had to think about.